So why is he here? Huh? Well, I can tell you it is not because I'm worried about Father Francis slipping. He's got a long way, so the only slipping I worry about him is the ice. That's the only slipping. He's always right on mark, so I'm not here for that. I thought I'd come to Mass early so I could get ready for the Super Bowl this weekend. That's why. No, that's not true either. This coming Tuesday will mark 1 year that I have the privilege to be the pastor of this tremendous parish. And in marking that 1 year anniversary and kind of thinking, looking at what goes on this time of year politically, civilly, in corporations and many different institutions, I thought I would give a State of the Union address 1 year in. And I'm very pleased to state that the State of the Union of St. Gregory the Great is strong. The state of the parish is strong. And I do have a few thoughts I'd like to share with you this evening. I'll be speaking really at all the Masses. And the first, I'm placing number one because I want to get it out of the way. In my humble opinion, what we'll be discussing in the homily today, this is the least important. But I do need to address, to honor my responsibility as a pastor, I have to address the finances. And the financial report is in the bulletin this week, so you can certainly take that home and review the financial statements. And the parish is very strong and stable financially. We are not worried there. All of our bills are paid. So nothing to worry about there. And you'll notice that we had a surplus at the end of the last fiscal year. The fiscal year really ends August 31st. The new fiscal year begins September 1 for us. It's not a calendar year. And the surplus, we're always happy to have a little left over. You know, you need that for a rainy day, huh? But nonetheless, the surplus needs a little bit of explanation because there are three reasons why the surplus is where it is. Number one, in the budget that was approved and in place when I arrived already, it was approved before I came here, it included a position for a marketing director and a director of development for the parish and for the school. And it was my decision not to hire in that area at this time. So that was budgeted for, but it did not come to fruition. So there's some expenses and salary and benefits that we certainly saved at the time. Secondly, there were a few things, not many things, but a few things that I just decided to cut back on here. And so that also realized some savings. And thirdly, capital work. The capital work that was proposed to have been done last fiscal year, thankfully it's all been done, but between the change of pastor, which delays things, and then how many of you have ever had work done on your house? Does it ever get done on time? Never gets done on time. I don't mean anything against any of our contractors, but it just always seems to take longer. You don't know what you're going to find, huh? And so some of the work that was to be done and paid for last fiscal year, the work is now done, but it didn't make it for the fiscal year. And so a little bit of that surplus really goes towards some of the capital work that was accomplished, but we'll hit the books this year. If you have any questions, certainly on anything you read, feel free to contact our parish business office. Tina Calandra, our business manager, will be more than willing to answer any questions. Don't tell her I said that. And I simply want to say thank you for your great generosity. It is, I can't tell you what a blessing as a pastor to not really necessarily have to worry about the finances. There are many, many parishes in our diocese that do not even know how they're paying their utility bills. And so we are truly blessed here at St. Gregory's, and I'm very thankful to you for your blessings that you've shared to help us. Overall, I'd like us to think for a few moments about a term that is often misused. And the term is the term stewardship. And most Catholic circles, as soon as you say the word stewardship, most are reaching for their wallet or their checkbook because we've equated that word with money. But that's really not a correct definition of stewardship. It's part of the definition and the third part of a three-part definition. So it's the last part of it. The first part of real stewardship is time. That's the most important part, the time that we spend personally, daily, weekly, with God in prayer. Stewardship of our time. Secondly, the stewardship of our talents, realizing that we have many gifts that the Lord has endowed us with, to use those talents, those abilities to serve the gospel today. As Father Francis said so beautifully in the beginning of Mass, we hear about the prophets. And the prophets are in our midst, still calling us to follow the gospel. And after we have the time, first and foremost in place, that we really spend that time daily, personally in prayer, and we become so engaged to give of our lives, our time, our talent to serve the gospel, then the treasure by nature follows. And this evening I'd like to give you two questions to think about. They're kind of rhetorical. I won't ask for a show of hands. There's a first. Two rhetorical questions. And the first one really came up at our last confirmation retreat. It was an awesome confirmation retreat. I would dare say in 22 years of doing them was probably the best confirmation retreat I've ever had in 22 years. And we have a section of questions and answers. Sometimes the questions and answers become part of the homily. Sometimes it's a separate section on the retreat. And the teenagers have an opportunity to raise questions. Anything, we can write it anonymously and I'll respond. And after reviewing them and answering the questions, I pose this question to our young people. And I think it's a question that really kind of is important for us all to hear. And that question is, how do you view the church? How do you view the church? Simple, basic question. Is the church viewed as an obstacle to what you want for happiness? Or is the church your vehicle in order to receive God's grace, joy, and eternal life? There are two very different ways of looking at the church. And in my 22, 23 almost years as a priest, and my last year here, no different. I meet individuals in both directions. Is the church an obstacle for you to getting what you feel will bring you happiness, or do you see the church as a vehicle, an instrument, allowing God's grace to be within you, true joy, and ultimately eternal life? Second question is similar, but different. How is it that you come to church? How is it that you come to church? And I don't mean, do you walk or take a car? Did you wear a right coat and hat today as it's cold? I'm not talking about that. But do you come to church, our parish, as an individual who's rushed and tired, kind of punching in because we got to get to Mass at some point in time? Or do we really see St. Gregory the Great in your own life as a place to be refreshed and renewed? Two very different ways to come here. And I've observed both. Many who, and God bless them, as they're running very busy lives, running with families today. And we heard about in the second reading that tension between things of this world and the focus on the world to come. We all live in that tension. But do we view being part of our parish family as something that's rushed, tired? Are we physically tired? Or do we really see this as a time of renewal and refreshment? You know, I've noticed many people in our parish who are tired. And I don't mean that meanly in any way, shape, or form. And that's why in November, for those getting confirmed this year, you know you received an email. That's when I became even more fully aware of all the requirements we placed, and I added my own of the overnight retreat. I pared back some of the requirements because there were too many of them. And I saw people who were tired. It's not meant to exhaust you to get confirmed. There was a study done a number of years ago, but the statistics are still valid. And the study was done nationally. Several hundred parishes were surveyed. And the results of that survey were really very interesting. Nationally, it seemed to be very true that about 7% of registered parishioners in a parish were actually active in doing 80% and more of all the work. 7% were so invested that they were active beyond Sunday Mass, and that small 7% group really accomplished 80 or more percent of all of the ministry that goes on in a parish. I went on to say that for that group, that 7%, not only were they the talent doing the physical work, they were also the time. They were the same group, by and large, who would be at daily Mass, if not every single day, multiple times during the week. They were the ones you would find in the Adoration Chapel. They were the ones who had the favorite chair in their living room that they sat in and prayed. The prayer and the talent go together. And I'd say my observation here at St. Greg's is about the same. We have over 80 ministries, and it's probably about 7% of the registered parishioners who really make all that happen, and to you we owe a debt of thanks. But it's really a call to us all to be part of that. Do we come here to be refreshed? You know, Jesus went often to the desert. And I don't think he went to the desert because he ran out of people to heal. I don't think he went to the desert because some afternoon the scribes and the Pharisees laid off and didn't harass him, so he said, I can take the afternoon off. He went to the desert, I don't think because he ran out of people who needed teaching. He went to the desert to be renewed with the Father. That's what our experience of parish is to be. You know, Jesus, we hear often in the Gospels, went to Bethany to visit his friends Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. And, you know, I'm sure he prayed with them, but the accounts really is that that's where he hung out. And I have the image of him sitting in, you know, the lazy boy with his feet up, you know, or the early version of the Adirondack chair on the back deck. And what do we hear? Martha running around so busy. And Martha tells Jesus, tell Mary to help me. And he says, Martha, 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 you're worried about so many things. But only one thing is necessary. Mary, she's chosen the better part. That balance of active ministry and work with time to be renewed and refreshed. Do you come here for that? Where are we going? Time, talent, and treasure. A simple thought to share with you. My very first weekend, I asked all of you, as I made the promise to you, to make the promise to me, to pray for one another every single day. And I do pray for you every day. And I trust that you do the same for me. And I renew that invitation of prayer. We really need to pray intensely. And the retreat's coming up, as you heard in the announcements. Deacon Ralph will be preaching at all the masses next weekend. He's a dynamic, holy man. And the retreat is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, so it'll be February 9, 10, and 11, both at 12:45 in the afternoon, right after the noon Mass, and at 7 in the evening again. Please come. Allow that to be a time of renewal for you and rest, to grow in your faith. You know, I invite you to really think, if you don't have that favorite chair in the family room that you sit in to do your prayer, to find one. And if you really would like, and I'd strongly encourage, come to the Adoration Chapel. It's a beautiful place to be in the presence of the Lord. I'm in there, I try every day. And very often there's only 1 or 2 or 3 other people with me. We have plenty of room. If we need to buy more chairs, we have a surplus from last year. We can buy a few more chairs. You know, please come. most important is really think what commitment are you willing to make to your prayer this year. Your talent. I am still amazed that we have over 80 ministries here at St. Greg's, and we look at them, and some of them we reevaluate and tweak. There are new ones. Father Francis mentioned the prophets. Just in the last 2 weeks, we've had 4 parishioners call with different ministries, prophets in our midst, perhaps, calling us to see a need and to address it. And another one, not one of those 4, but another one that's very unique that I invite you already to start thinking about. One of our parishioners, a professional in the area of acting and screenwriting, has written a movie. It's his intention. It's going to be at the Regal. It's not just going to be something in religious ed class. And it's a pro-life movie about the importance and the sacredness of human life. And through his invitation eventually to all of us to use our time to pray right now for the success of that project, which is a unique project, to eventually respond with your talent, because he's going to need extras and he's going to need a lot of our assistance to bring this to completion. And he might even ask us for our treasure, because there will be funding that's needed for a project of that magnitude with competent actors and actresses who have a name to put on the screen. We need to hire an evangelization director, not a marketing director, an evangelization director. It troubles me deeply that about 1/3 of our parish is never here. And I'm not saying sometimes, I'm saying never here. It's more than one individual can do to reach out to all of those families. And this is the new evangelization that we've been called to by the last 3 popes, to reach out to our brothers and sisters, especially those members of our family and friends, but our fellow parishioners, to let them know that we are missing them, that we love them, and that we care about their eternal salvation, and to be part of that vehicle of salvation here at St. Greg's. We need to, by your request, and I agree, when I came as pastor, one of the things that came very clear from the personnel board when they interviewed the parish was the need to expand and strengthen youth ministry and young adult ministry. We really didn't have young adult ministry going on too much, and now we've redeployed Jen, one of our youth ministers, to focus just on our young adults, the college age, in the 20s and the 30s, and to make changes in our youth ministry which need to happen. They do great work, but the resources are a bit limited for them. Sister Shawn joined us, you'll remember, to do some HR work, human resource work. There were some things we needed to address as a parish. They're all been taken care of. Sister Shawn has over 30 years of experience as an HR director, and how blessed we are that as she's bringing that to a close, she's now going to join us full-time as a pastoral associate. And some of you've met her. Sister's here somewhere. Where are you, sister? Stand up, and you might need to stand on the kneeler because she's short, like me. So everybody, welcome Sister Shawn again to our parish. And Sister Shawn is going to be moving into that role of pastoral associate for us. That there's a list of talent that we have that we can work on and pray about. And then finally, your treasure. Again, I thank you for financially all you do and have done. And I do ask you, I wouldn't be a good pastor if I didn't, I do ask you to prayerfully consider increasing your offering to the parish. If everyone who is currently giving could give $3 or $5 more a week, we will definitely be able to address all of these issues under the talent that I mentioned. Some of us, that's an awful lot of money. We can't afford it. That's okay, because for some of us, $3 or $5 isn't a lot of money, and maybe you can do a little bit better. And at the end, it'll all come out. I have every confidence. So I thank you, I pray for you, and I deeply, sincerely love you and know of that each and every day.